ref. I don't see any FlyQuest players in lobby, so they're getting more practice than we are.
Yeah.
Wait,
Anything to
FlyQuest
say
is
about
not
this?
on lobby. Hello, ref.
Hit up Brian for that one.
You have a parlay on FlyQuest, ref?
No, just this fight. And can I get FlyQuest in lobby? Otherwise, I'm going back.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
I might just go back to training. This is not fair.
Me too. This is not fair.
Victor's warming up his earlier right now while I'm just waiting.
Scared.
Yeah, I'm becoming blabber. My monitor every day is becoming more tilted. Like.
Say something. Say something.
Yo, Casper, can you talk to Diplex? I think he muted me. Can you just say Diplex? Hey. Oh. Hey. Oh, never mind. Work on your CS,
good
bro.
on the audio?
Focus on CS. I'm looking.
This?
Is that it?
Ian, 1 second, Jordan. Ian.
Okay.
You managed to get one up.
Watch me.
Looking.
So.
Nice. The Tristana 1v9.
My God.
The random
Jojo.
Tristana pick.
C13. Ja.
Damn. They can't win on the patch. The next patch, my supports get buffed. GG.
GG.
When support leaves him forever.
Close.
When your top side is inting,
Wow, I mean, pretty spot on.
support dies top, I get chat. This, dude, I don't even know what
I'm
that
that
means.
egotistical. I would call myself a chat.
Yeah.
Determined. It means I'm focused.
Oh, okay.
Eyes on the prize.
Oh, RuneScape.
Yeah, he knows that one.
Yeah.
That
That was pretty good.
probably when people don't listen to him in the game.
His sort of
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. Intelligent.
intelligent.
Clean?
I like cleaning. That's why. Like that
Like,
kind of clean. Like,
In game or in real life?
no, like in real life.
Oh,
Like cleaning.
Yeah, 'cause you're not very clean in game. Lineage?
I don't even play that game.
Oh, I thought you played that one.
No.
TFT. Yeah, he does play a lot of TFT. Watches the LCS broadcast and points out everyone's teamfighting mistakes. Look, this guy's so bad.
Hype music.
I've never seen you listen to music.
Oh, yeah, I stopped.
Yeah.
I feel like huhi didn't want the actual pump up known for air. Stixxay threw one of the butts.
What's your pump up, huh?
For me, it's music. Gotta be music.
Same thing for me. Same
Yeah.
thing for me. I got to put on the heaviest metal possible. Gets me pumped up and things going. And we're about to get going with our last match of the day, and that is going to be TSM versus Golden Guardians.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Golden Guardians, I think, looking a lot better recently. You know, coming off of a really strong week. You know, 2-0 last week. Gori coming in for the team has made a really big difference, even in their losses. The first week, right when he arrived, he had to jump right in. Still was making a difference for this team. And TSM, you know, I think trying to find ways to really get consistent wins. You know, in the first week, they picked a lot towards scaling. They were able to kind of just outlast teams, wait for mistakes, you know, outscale, out-team fight. But it hasn't been as consistent for them these last couple weeks. And it feels like them, along with Dignitas, I feel like, are really searching for what is their consistent win condition. Because teams that aren't bot lane dominant, I think this is one of them, are really struggling on this patch.
I mean, right now they're looking for some level of consistency. I think who's finding that consistency as of lately, over on Golden Guardian side, has been Stixxay and huhi. They've been clicking very well. They've been having a lot of good early laning phases. This has been a bot lane that I've been enjoying watching.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, huhi, I think, really just trying to prove himself as an individual, as a strong support, you know, separated now from FBI, playing back with Stixxay, who he played with on CLG, albeit when he was the mid laner.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see that kind of reuniting of these two players. And Stixxay gave a great interview last week on stage, post-game interview, where he's talking about how huhi's such a different player as a support than he was as a mid laner, that he's very, very critical. He's always pointing out the mistakes that they make, you know, and really how that has helped Stixxay to continuously improve and kind of keep that eye on consistent growth week over week, because that's really what it takes, I think, to have these long careers as a pro.
You know, that's what I've always heard for a lot of people who do switch to support role. It's that they're more team oriented. They like a lot of the planning that goes on, and it's not the best thing for their role. So they usually end up switching to jungle or to the support, you know, who he chose for the support on this one. But we are going through the draft a little bit here. We already got the Maokai locked in, and it does look like Golden Guards want to take the Zeri. Lulu for TSM.
Yeah, Lulu getting locked in there. Traditionally, it has been paired most with Zeri, but there are a lot of scaling options these days that you can go towards. I'm going to be interested to see where they go. You know, I was kind of curious if Sivir would be pretty standard. So Lulu, Sivir on one side. What is the answer going to be here? Do they want to go towards, another enchanter? We've been seeing a lot of Sonas when Yumi's off table, which obviously it's just totally dead now. So people have been going back towards things like the Sona. You can, of course, go more towards melee supports if you want. That would be, my opinion, kind of huhi's specialty. I was also really interested to see if Chime was going to go melee supports, because that is kind of how I think he has made his name. He's another one of those guys that has really been about the engage and team fighting.
Yeah.
And they're going to allow support to fall to the next stage of the draft. So instead, prioritizing Renekton as this top lane pick for Licorice. Going to be able to throw a couple of protection bands potentially here as well to keep him safe in that top lane.
Chime, we used to always have good jokes over in the NACL about how his name's Chime, but he's actually a Thresh one-trick, which made things ever so confusing that he has a Bard-related name. But for the first half of this draft so far for TSM, I do like the level of engage they have. Sivir and Wukong together can mean a very fast and snappy bite coming out from TSM.
An Alawi ban coming through. So that feels like maybe a little bit of tech from Solo. Kobe was wanting Alawi all last year. He was talking about it on the dive like every single week. This is, I think, the closest we've gotten to having it. So Kobe can give a cheer.
Hey, join us on the NACL. There's a guy named Moose Hater. He just played Alawi very, very recently.
I was watching him play Garen. That guy's everywhere, man. I'm a Moose Hater enthusiast.
And you all should be as well as we head into the second phase of the draft. Looks like Golden Guardians are going to eyeball into their solo lanes at the moment. Their mid lane at the moment as they cover the set.
Could also be the huhi special. They were hovering this last week as well, though. I think he's maybe just having a little bit of fun with it. But huhi, if you remember, was really well known for his set support.
Right.
It's going to be Annie. Could actually be support or mid, so this is a flex. They could potentially send it, either way. It's incredibly strong on this patch. Really, really, really overpowered. Even with the hotfix nerf, I still think it's incredibly strong. So we'll have to see, how they're going to be able to deal with it. We did get to see it come out, once earlier today. Do TSM just go full scaling? That is how they've gotten most of their wins. It looks like that's the answer. I mean, you've got Lulu, Sivir, Azir, Ornn. You're going late and you're trying to 5v5, and that's about all you're trying to do. And for Golden Guardians, when you do have that Renekton, it's going to be a lot more difficult to fight. You're going to be looking more for these kind of multi-angle approaches for trying to attack from different sides. And if they actually want to go with the Yone, it is great, as an answer to that Azir. But again, can be difficult at times in the 5v5, especially when you're going up against that Lulu, because it takes away that safety that you have when you actually E into a fight. If you get polymorphed in, you can't snap back and you can get burst down. And that mobility and that evasiveness is really what Yone kind of depends on in these 5v5. So I do think Golden Guardians have a lot of tools that they can use to be proactive, and they're going to have to make use of them if they don't want this game to just stall out and become about scaling, where I think TSM are heavily, heavily favored.
Azael, I want to take you to a champion right here. Are you in favor of Annie being in the meta or out of the meta?
I think it's a lot of fun, honestly, having it back in the meta. To me, it's just nice to have a bit of a mix-up, right?
Yeah.
Anytime anything is like a must-pick or a must-ban in the meta, I get a little bit tired of it. There's that fatigue of seeing the same thing again and again and again. So I like seeing that variety. And I'm also a strong believer that, just below the kind of established S tier, there's actually a massive pool of like A tier champions that are just kind of out of reach of being picked in pro. So that is why I think it's a lot of fun to see these mix-ups. And for sometimes people just even realize that even without buffs, sometimes the champion will get a small buff and a patch and people start playing it and they realize, oh, this was actually really good even before. We just didn't necessarily know what matchups and what situations to play it in. So it's always fun to see those mix-ups, and I'm going to be excited to see how he's going to be able to perform, because I think he's been having a solid season.
He's been having a solid season. The only reason I bring it up is because he is the role swap, right, from mid into support. And I always feel like a lot of those role swaps bring some of the more fun picks into the support role. Role swaps in general just bring a lot of fun picks.
Absolutely, and we actually have a lot of them. I mean, Corja Day is an AD role swap. We had Busio lane swapping over from mid, huhi from mid, Sven from AD. There may be others that I'm not thinking of, but those are the ones that always come to front of mind for me. So, it is going to be really, really interesting to see how he's going to be able to perform. But I agree, a lot of these guys are going to have more confidence in playing these different style of champions, whereas traditionally, a lot of people have been playing support for a long time. It's just been more about the engaged supports or some of these kind of more defensive enchanters, and less about, some of these kind of more unique picks.
Now, TSM versus Golden Guardians going to be underway right now. I love this frontline and engage that we have from TSM, what they were able to grab in that draft. I want to see how that is going to start to interact with this comp that we have from Golden Guardians as we dig deeper and deeper into this game, especially around the neutral objectives, because I feel like Maokai has been that champion where you just automatically get like insta priority on early neutrals. I don't expect TSM to contest a little bit too much onto that side, but once we get into the full fives, that's going to be my interest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the very least, I think you get priority for vision, right? You know, you can kind of step out and really control vision in those areas. And huhi, that's one of the changes. You start with the 4-stack Q there, so we can step out of that brush. But this trade was truly horrible for them. Did not go the way I think they were expecting there. As you step out with that Q, you get one auto, but then they went full retreat, and Lulu and Sivir are going to get a lot of damage down in that situation.
Chime's like, friends, I have found a lost child in this brush. Can we please send her back home?
That's child abuse.
Hey, Chime's playing a Yordle.
Okay, so now it's just like children fighting. Does that make it better? Is that what we're promoting here?
It makes it way better. It's the playground wars.
Hunger Games. It's okay. They've done that in the movie.
I went for the playground. He went for the extreme round.
Trying to get gold.
Speaking of routes right now, full clear coming out from River should be pathing over to this bottom side where you have a strong push coming in. I mean, Sivir, Lulu, it's expected to be some level of heavy push, and especially with that early harassment going the way of TSM should be that way for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, do have that push, especially when those early trades go that bad. You have to be very, very careful about these next couple of minutes, and that is why these double range matchups can be really, really spicy because you take a little bit too much damage here or there. You're not going to have a lot of base regen. You're not going to have that ability necessarily to just kind of shrug that damage off. huhi, as we can see, already had to use his potions. He has a biscuit in inventory, but still not even back towards full HP. And unless they can threaten it all in, it doesn't seem like they're really going to be able to threaten much of a trade.
Anything going on this top side? Solo battling out with Licorice over on this top end. One of the problems I've seen from TSM in the past has been specifically around their mid game and specifically around Solo as well. I do feel like he's willing to sacrifice a lot in his lane to give to TSM, but I feel like there's a delicate balance right there, right? You don't want to give up too much of your lane to try and come back because then you end up kind of sandbagging towards the later stages.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to be able to, especially when you're a weak side player, as he traditionally is, you have to be able to know what is okay to give up and what you actually need to fight for. Because if you fall so far behind, they become a liability. It's really going to put your team in a tough spot because then they have to start putting resources in you to even keep you relevant in the game. But I will say that Solo throughout his career has really walked that balance very, very well. He's really adept at it, and that is kind of how he's made his career in the LCS, at being this guy that largely doesn't need a lot of resources, that can win out in these side lane matchups, or at least stay relevant in these side lane matchups, and then really contribute when it comes time to 5v5, and when it comes time to actually move towards these dragons. He has great timers, he understands his job in these fights and where he needs to be on the map.
Ooh, River flashing over the wall, sees an opportunity to go for a gank, jumps on the Neo, but the spell shield will block away the root. And TSM will get away with only scratches but no deaths. They've called over Bugi, and they're looking to return something back to Golden Guardians, but not in time.
Yeah, that was really good for TSM. At the end of the day, they do trade even on summoners, but in that 2v3 to be able to actually do that, it's really, really impressive. Well-timed spell shield. They almost got the kill on River. It is both summoners off of Chime, though, so he's the vulnerable one now. If River can find an angle to get back there, you can probably grab a pretty easy kill onto the Lulu. So Chime going to have to be really careful about his positioning, as we're seeing again, Gori taking the worst end of some of these trades. It is expected in the early levels, but he is keeping the farm very, very close, something that Diplex wasn't really able to do in this matchup last time. And generally, in my experience, once the Yone starts to pick up sustain, it becomes very, very difficult for the Azir to pressure in that same way. Because for Azir, it's much more about slowly whittling them down. And for this Yone, it's more about finding these burst opportunities, these windows with your soul unbound up, where you can really punish all at once.
Oh, ping's being called right here. huhi looking for something on the Maple into the mid lane. Does have the stun available and ready. But it's always scary when an Annie gets free from her lane and gets roaming, has that stun, has the damage to make kills a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Not going to be that threatening just yet without the Ignite up and without much AP behind him, but the stun alone, can be that setup that you need, right? And we'll see. You know, Gori has the lane set up pretty well. Had that kind of small freeze. The wave was pushing towards him, so is going to have to TP back. As Maple TPs back to mid lane, he's going to be looking to just reset this wave. But there's going to be more there for Gori to farm and going to be able to keep this relatively even. As we stand on River just heading up towards top side. It's a good lane ward, though, from Solo. So we have to see, did Licorice actually track that? And is this just a bit of coverage for Licorice to be able to push in? Because that's what it looks like.
Yeah. Looks to be the case right here. Licorice will shove in that wave against Solo. And huhi has been roaming out repeatedly, leaving the daycare, looking to find some opportunities for Golden Guardians in the mid. Fortunately, Maple's not going to allow any of those, but you can tell huhi got some murder on the mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he keeps going back there, but you got to check these side brushes. This pink ward is what spotted them, and it's wasting his time. You know, Maple did back off. They didn't actually get eyes on the fact that that was the ward. I mean, I'm sure he knows there's vision around there somewhere, but they weren't sure where it is. They didn't check that brush, and now Bugi gonna spend some time here around mid lane. They're gonna look for it.
And good Gori, beautiful on the timing right there. Will be at no risk whatsoever.
Yeah, really, really nice buffer on that from Gori, able to just get to safety with the ulti. Maple unable to actually get in front of him to block it. You know, if you do actually step in front of the Yone ult, he'll stop on you, and then maybe they could have got more, but Gori equal to the cast there. And it feels like now, without that ulti, he's the one that's going to be pressuring. If that knock-up hit, would have been a pretty rough trade for Maple.
River focusing down into the bottom lane, but again, the wards are there, and River's going to be walking past that control ward that was placed earlier. Actually, won't even walk past it, so TSM should have some idea where River is, and they'll have the complete picture in just a moment. Still staying hidden for a little bit more in this fog of war. Finally can spawn him out.
Yeah, gonna be spotted. And now it's up to Maple to just kind of like not give it up, you know, not make it too obvious that you know that he's there. Maple, though, taking a really bad trade, and this is what I'm talking about. You know, with that soul inbound, you get in, you hit that knock-up. It starts to become such a winning trade that all Azir can do is run, but Stixxay looking for the all-in!
Ultimate coming out from Stixxay, gets polymorphed, has to wait it out, goes back onto Neo. huhi following through, doesn't have a stun. One more spell before he has it primed. Ooh, waiting for it. Flash for huhi as well, so he tries to time it in, but the spell shield comes in time for Neo.
Yeah, nicely done there by Neo. And honestly, even if the stun landed, he still had cleanse, so I don't think it's actually worth the flash there from huhi. You know, really trying to push, trying to play aggressively in this matchup, but Neo and Chime have been doing a great job thus far, absorbing that pressure. And River now here on the invade, does not have his smite though, so Bugi gonna be able to claim this and just back it up.
That is so weird on the call for huhi. I mean, when you pop the Q, there's enough of a buffer where you can read it coming through. I get the idea with popping the W to proc the next spell to get the stun, but Neo sees that buffer coming from a mile away.
Yeah, and my guess is they just didn't have a perfect timing on the spell shield cooldown. The spell shield is very long on those early levels, you know, 24-second cooldown. So he probably thought it was still on cooldown from a little bit earlier. Maybe thought he could actually ride that line and be able to get it off. Had a little bit of a mistiming, so we'll get punished because, yeah, I mean, I think he's going to know Neo will be able to react to that almost every single time.
So now Golden Guardians are setting up around the Rift Herald, and the response for TSM is to contest. Called over Bugi as well as the bot lane. Chime waiting not too far off. Reset coming out from Golden Guardians. Too much of a threat from TSM onto their positioning, so they won't quite go for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, I think that would be way too risky. If you commit to the Herald there, Solo's missing from lane, Ornn ult comes out, Wukong ult comes out, Maple has his ultimate available, you know, all of those tools are there to really, really punish. Plus, Stixxay was pushing bot, so they're actually already getting stuff down on this bot side. He's gonna get a second play here and deny some of that farm, so that's a lot of gold going into Stixxay's pockets, so they didn't need the pressure. It was actually TSM that were getting nothing elsewhere at that same time. Golden Guardians were pushing top with Renekton, pushing bot with the Zeri, and that has resulted in a 500 gold lead for Stixxay alone. So that is really a nice play, despite the fact that they didn't even start the Herald, or couldn't finish the Herald, rather.
Yeah, Stixxay is cashing in and generating that income. You know what happens when a Zeri gets going. Bugi paying attention to this top side. The rest of Golden Guardians will peel off over to the Rift Herald and look to contest this. Let's look like TSM want to do the same dance that they did last time and try and give an argument for Golden Guardians not to take this, and that argument comes in the call of the Forge God. Into the air, to the skies, Licorice will go. The Rift Herald will get secured through. Licorice will go down, and First Blood will be secured by TSM. Emperor's Divide coming out from Maple, goes after Gori, flashing away. It's gonna be Solo, but Gori wants a piece of Maple, even with the low health bar. Got no chance. Maple takes the kill, and huhi and River make haste. They head right for the exit. They want none of TSM.
Yeah, Chime gonna hit that slow, but it's not gonna be enough, unfortunately. Will be able to get out of there, but still a great fight from TSM, and now Stixxay on bot side.
Stixxay going for it again, wants the 1v1, will not be able to claim it. Neo shoved right underneath that tower, and Stixxay flexing that authority.
Yeah, just trying to push him back, trying to establish a window here to push in, continue poking away at that turret. Not really gonna be able to get much of anything though, as Neo has the wave clear to be equal to that task. And this is just a risky play. You're going up there, with Ornn being able to have that engage, and they just go straight in on Licorice, who doesn't have much defensive stats whatsoever. He had the early ult already popped, but he's just gonna get burst down. And then you see, in goes that Yone, but he gets polymorphed up immediately. He gets ulted after the polymorph ends there, by Maple, and Maple getting so much damage here. Maple just nice little sidestep, avoiding Gori's knock-up, and then able to finish him off. And TSM don't get anything more on the chase. Good little escape by River, just using those saplings to slow him down.
All right, so TSM 2 kills up early. Not too much gold to that regard, because a lot of that was really dialed back because of the plays from Golden Guardians in that bot side. Stixxay, he was the one cashing in those plays.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, if I'm TSM and I'm even, let alone ahead in gold, I'm kind of laughing in this game. I feel like their situation is really, really good. You have Ornn, Sivir, Lulu, and Azir. Like, that is just ultimate go late, look to scale it up. So if you're not getting punished by champions, like this Renekton, like this Annie, I feel like they're really going to struggle to have anywhere close to the same value as something like a Lulu. This is not a mid lane Annie. Huhi needs to be getting kills to be getting gold. And Annie's going to struggle, I think, to really contribute in the same way. So they are going to look for this potential engage off the Maokai ult, but...
Oh, he flashes in with Tibbers, lands it onto Chime. Chime trying to survive, has a lot of health. Gori goes in and takes down Chime. Bugi running away with the Cyclone. Neo following suit. Doesn't have the ultimate, so doesn't have the extra move speed. Has to use the flash to get away, Azael.
Yeah, going to be forced to actually use that flash. So Golden Guardians pushing in. They're looking pretty happy after that one. They grab the dragon, and the force from Huhi does result at least in some kills. Licorice now with the spot onto Bugi, but Maple is coming, and if Licorice over chases, this could go bad for him, so he's got to leave.
Now there's a Gator in this jungle, and here comes Solo. This is so painful, man. The crowd control TSM cannot be denied.
Oh, Licorice getting a little bit too aggressive there, going in blind on this move, trying to actually punish Bugi, but you don't know where Solo is. You don't know where Maple is. Solo, though, could get dove here.
Oh, Solo gonna get dived. 4 members of the Guardians surrounding poor Solo. Will get taken apart. Stixxay will receive the kill.
Yeah, nicely done. They get that kill in the Stixxay's pockets here. They get some more plays down on bot side, so at least they can respond on that bottom side. But big unforced error from Licorice. No shot. He should have been staying around that long. And as a result, he gives up an easy kill. TSM, the TP is going to arrive, but can you actually hold this? Okay. So they will be able to keep it alive. The Herald's not doing as much damage early. It is that 1 plate remaining, but at the very least, they cash in on some of that gold.
And that's a lot of gold onto Neo, those plates. Spread among 3 members of TSM at that. Look the opposite side of the map, though, Azael. That's a solo first turret for Stixxay.
Yeah, I mean, Stixxay is just so far ahead now. He is basically, all of the hopes right now of Golden Guardians. He's 1,500, 1,600 gold ahead individually in that matchup. So once he goes back, he's going to have a lot of gold to spend here. And it's going to be a lot of pressure on him, and Gori to get things done, because Licorice really hasn't been able to establish much of a lead. I do think Annie is going to always have that utility of an engage, but I feel like you're going to fall off pretty hard compared to a Lulu. Lulu just needs your support mythic, and you're kind of laughing, right? You're just amplifying the damage that your teammates are putting out, whereas Huhi will always be good for that stun, but past that, later on, you're going to flash in, drop Tibbers, and then probably die.
That's a problem with some of these double range matchups. Some of them, it's hard to redeem yourself if you have a bad laning phase. The Caitlyn support was a big one to that indicator. You're going to have some suffering here for Huhi if he doesn't find too much with the tune. More changes coming out from these solo laners, and Huhi might be trying to find something. He's looking over at the monkey in the jungle. Has River right next to him. Licorice not too far off. Maybe TSM go for a fight here. Licorice going for the engage. Follows through. River on the opposite end. It's going to cut off the rest of TSM and follow through on the charge. Stixxay runs in with the ultimate and pops Maple. A double kill for Stixxay.
Yeah, that's actually huge. The TP wasn't able to be canceled by Solo. We saw that screen and now the stun lands.
Big Tibbers for huhi sends TSM far away from this tower, but will not claim another kill.
They're not going to be able to quite finish off that kill, but great pressure, great engage here from Golden Guardians. You know, they're playing decisively. They know they need to keep the pace of this game very, very fast. Might have been a different story had Solo been able to actually interrupt that TP with his ulti a little bit earlier. Couldn't quite actually land that, so unfortunately for them, it means really good things for Stixxay, who is just getting comically fed. The entire lead is basically just him.
Stixxay, can I borrow some gold, friend? My word, dude is cashing in. And as you said, Stixxay pretty much is the Golden Guardian. This is the person you're depending on.
I mean, greed is good in League of Legends. You know, all that gold stacked on one person is much more powerful than having it, you know, spread out amongst many. Because he already has his 2 items completed plus the tier 2 boots. So Stixxay is ready to go. And I just want to see Golden Guardians continue to push the pace with that. You know, they are in a really great spot right now. Continue to look to try to set up vision around these dragons. 45 seconds till the next one spawns. Get those wards ready. Look for that fight. We can see this one more time. Maple TP's up top lane, so they were looking to make a play on Licorice, but Golden Guardians were ready. You can see Stixxay is coming up, and then we'll see it, you know, in the bottom of the screen. It's that TP coming in, and you can see on that minimap TP coming in. The Ornn ulti was looking to actually interrupt, couldn't quite get it. So here comes that 5th member. Gori does arrive, and Stixxay just pushing forward, crushing through this team unopposed.
You know, respect to huhi for the back half, getting that Tibbers. Could have looked a little cooler if you got a kill onto that. 9 seconds until the dragon spawns, and Golden Guardians are the first ones to step foot into that direction. And with the Rift Herald, it's going to be easy mid lane priority coming out for them. A 1-2 punch for the Guardians.
Yeah, it's really nicely done. Standard stuff. Grab the Herald, drop it mid, right as dragon spawning, force that response. And with plates falling, they should be able to crack that tower, and they do. So mid lane tier 1 does fall. You can see, though, the response from TSM is not actually to group to fight it. They're happy to just trade for gold. You can see Azir pushing up on top side. Ornn's going to go down towards the bot side, and they're going to look to try to recoup as much gold as possible as they can. They're fine giving up 2 dragons. They may look to fight at the 3rd, or if they're still in a bad spot, potentially could even delay it to the 4th. But they know the longer this game goes, the better they're going to be feeling about their chances.
Cyclone out from Bugi, and there it is, the Emperor's Divide. Gori, dealing with so much crowd control, is able to play around it just enough. Doesn't even burn his flash to escape.
Yep, is going to use that ulti, but nice trade. You know, gets those 2 ultis down. Radiant Virtue now finished up for Solo. Plus, he's got Tabbies and the Bramble, so really he's shrugging off most of the damage that Licorice is actually putting out. Doing a good job, just kind of holding on in that side lane. And he continues to get more experience under his belt. Those Ornn items are going to start coming through. And that's where things, you know, can really start to get more difficult. The gold leaf can kind of start to lie to you, as each Ornn item is worth about, you know, an extra 1k or so that isn't showing on the scoreboard.
For Golden Guardians, they're looking at their watches right now, taking a close look at the time, and they don't want this to go too long. Once we get into the 25-minute mark, the 30-minute mark, it keeps going more and more handily over the TSM and this very strong scaling teamfight composition that they've brought to the Rift.
Yep, but the big X factor is, of course, the fact that Stixxay is super, super fed. So as long as they can actually enable Stixxay, and while they don't have, you know, the traditional ways to actually do that, they don't have a Lulu, they don't have any enchanters standing behind him.
You got a Zeri.
What they have is, yeah, exactly, you have the Zeri, and you have a lot of people to make space, right? So you're going to have River, Licorice, Gori, huhi, everyone charging forward, and basically forcing TSM to just kind of retreat, right? Trying to force them back, and that is going to be the way that Stixxay is going to be bought space by the aggression of his teammates. So we'll see how well they can actually do that, because if Stixxay does get stacked in on, if they can get in on top of him, he doesn't have anyone to necessarily save him that easily.
He's going to have to go LCK mode and do it all by his lonesome if that ends up being the case. For Golden Guardians, more control position of the map. TSM, they're looking to still get their solo lane at least some sort of gold, some sort of lead ahead. And again, they're not pressured to do it. They can play this game slowly as long as both Guardians aren't taking too much. TSM are happy to take a fight right here. Teleport's coming out from both teams. Licorice caught out, a lot of crowd control on the Licorice. Gator can't even get close to Maple. Gori shows up, but Solo is taking the damage and will finally get chopped away. Gori gets the kill on Solo.
They're going to be able to get that kill, but it wasn't about the 2v2. It's the fact that Stixxay and huhi were roaming first, so they couldn't actually stand and fight there. I think Maple could have stood and fight had it just been the 2v2, but they saw the roaming members here from Golden Guardians making that move very quickly to respond. well done by them, and we'll see what they can actually get with this. Going to be moving in, looking to take some vision. And if you actually take a look at the items here, it's likely to be a Leandries for River as the Mythic. So he's not actually going to go for a tank Mythic. This is going to be more heavily AP, and he is playing First Strike, so it can get really, really annoying playing around the objectives with this. But what it does mean is that Licorice is basically solo frontline. And Renekton does not scale that well as a frontline, so you're not going to have this kind of like big group of beefy boys in the front to make that space for Stixxay as easily as you otherwise would.
But you do get saplings.
You do get saplings.
You do get some pretty powerful saplings. I mean, if Golden Guardians hold control of rivers for these neutral objectives and get those saplings down, they do a lot of damage. It really does add up.
Yeah, it absolutely does. But Solo can actually just step forward with Lulu shields and be that big tank to absorb them, right? So they have a good answer for it. If you're 5 squishy against AP Maokai, it becomes actually so unbearable because you have no one good to actually clear it. But they have some really good ways to do that, you know, with the Lulu shields, with this big frontliner in Ornn. So we'll see how they can deal with that. It does take time, though, to clear out those saplings safely, so that's going to be difficult. Maple, though, in trouble!
Gori on a Maple, steps away from the ultimate, will slide onto the side. Emperor's Blood comes out, but here comes River. Mid laner picked off, and Team Solo mid down a mid.
Yeah, River going to be able to flash in and get that kill, but at the very least, Maple forces 2 flashes because both Gori and River flashed in for that. And Maple should be back up in time to actually get over here and potentially contest this dragon. And that is going to mean there's going to be no ulti for Gori. There's going to be no flash on River or Gori, and no ulti on Maokai either. So I actually think potentially if TSM can delay enough time for Maple to get there, it could end up being in their favor.
This is TSM's time to turn it around. 3 seconds, no, not 3 seconds, 5 seconds till Maple's off the respawn, and still so much more time for the dragon. So as you were saying, it does allow TSM to get some sort of setup, but they might not be thinking about the dragon right now. They're peeling towards the top side, Azael.
Yeah, they just basically don't want to deal with the Maokai saplings, I think, and they're trying to buy time for the Azir. So they're likely not going to commit to this. I think they're just trying to say, hey, you got to come over, you got to come over. But the problem with this is it's so easy to actually answer with one person soloing the dragon and 4 people just kind of contesting the Baron. And that's all they really have to do. But at the very least, TSM bought time here, right? Maple is now back with the team. They have the setup for the 5v5, and those flashes are still going to be missing on the other side.
And Ultimate's down as well. Gori doesn't have his. It will be ticking quite soon. Same thing for River. So it might be enough time for Golden Guardians to fight their way back in the team fight.
Yeah, I think that Maple thought Gori had his ulti, and it was really close to being back up. Otherwise, I don't think he actually flashes that. Yeah. Solo trying to walk in, clear these brushes, and they're going to look for the engage now.
Through here comes the Cyclone and the call of the Forge God to the skies. Licorice will go once again, but will survive his plummet back. Golden Guardians going after the Drake, and they will secure it. Dragon Soul point. How's the team fight going to go, though? Gori steps in, and Gori gets 3, and will decimate Team Solo mid. Guardians finding the win.
Oh my God, Gori with the explosive team fight there. He sets him up and Stixxay knocks him down. Golden Guardians can go right over to the Baron. They secure the dragon as Bugi chased way too deep onto the side there, trying to push off Licorice. Now Golden Guardians are going to get everything. They are looking very decisive around the team fights in this game. It is so nice to see them playing towards the strength of their comp. They get the dragon, they get the mid tier 2, they're gonna get the Baron, and they have taken full control of this game. 8K lead over TSM, only 24 minutes in.
The Red Bull Baron grabbed by Golden Guardians. What a team fight to come back right here off of TSM's engage.
Yeah, absolutely. The initial engage looking good for TSM, but then they actually just begin to chase up after Licorice, and I think that's really the main problem. They're going way too far. You know, Boogie's way up here, and look at the dragon's health. He's not anywhere close to actually getting back to try to contest that dragon. And they kind of overcommit to that side. Licorice peels back, survives, and then Gori finds his moment with the last seconds there. Being able to get in, multi-man knockup, setting him up for Stixxay, who just completely eviscerates him. And Solo, the frustration on his face, he knows that was probably their last chance.
Definitely was. I mean, Golden Guardians, 7.3K in the lead. It's been snowballing right now. Maybe a last chance for TSM found on the track, but getting chased away immediately as the rest of the Guardians have arrived to lay down TSM. Going after Bugi. The tower no longer exists, friend, and neither does your health bar.
Yeah, and out of all, they get roasted. Golden Guardians has been so fast on these moves. Anytime TSM is trying to look to play towards that side lane, Golden Guardians are really respecting those moves and moving down there as a 5-man squad so incredibly fast. It's already happened multiple times this game. Now they're going to try to push in here, use the Timbers to tank up the tower, and they're going to look to try to close this one out very quickly if they can.
Mid lane push coming out for Gori. In the meanwhile, Golden Guardians focusing this bot lane. Inhib tower, it will fall. Inhib is all that remains to finish the objective down here in the bottom lane and transfer to the mid where Gori sets.
Yep, they're going to be able to already knock that one down. You can see top lane is already pushing. Mid lane has already been prepped, but it does look like they're going to try to head back to base, spend up all their gold. If I check their pockets here, did have quite a bit of gold to actually spend up. So I wanted to make sure that they are able to get back to base, complete all their purchases. IE is done for Gori, IE is done for Stixxay. Stixxay almost has a GA on top. These guys are crazy fed at this point.
They knew this scaling win condition out of TSM, checked their watch, said it's butt kick o'clock, and they pressed that gas pedal down, and boy did they go. 9K now as they start dancing around this Baron area. We still have a while before that Baron does spawn, as we do have the Baron buff on. Golden Guardian setting up for both this top side and the mid lane.
Yeah, absolutely, and now it's just so far behind the TSM are. You know, they would have to delay this game for a massive amount of time to really have a hope of coming back into it. You know, the Ornn items are starting to come through. You know, they have 2 of those done. It's done for Neo, it's done for Solo. But their progression in this game has been halted so drastically, and it's, you know, closing on a 4,000 gold lead here between the ADs, and that is just astronomical.
This is where we go for the classic Sivir 600 CS win condition, where you just turtle for like an hour, and there you go, you scaled. Come back there, but I don't think Golden Guardians are going to allow that much time with how fast they've been.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult. If Golden Guardians get really passive, I do think TSM always have that opportunity. They have incredible wave clear, as you're alluding to. Sivir Azir is about as good as you can get in those situations. And with bot lane and hip down, it does mean more and more minions going to be pouring in towards their base. You know, help them equalize that. But this is a 10K gold lead, and they're going to have to fight in 40 seconds if they don't want to give over this Ocean Soul. And we can see Sapling getting thrown over the side there, the bottom of our screen, does kind of give away River's positioning. But it also means Golden Guardians are potentially looking for an engage here.
River wants it. River wants it. He's at the angle to find the flank right now. Has huhi right next to him, and Gori on the opposite flank. TSM got to be careful about moving too far forward right here. One ward does go out, should spot out Gori's play. But River still waiting over on that bottom end.
But now Gori doesn't actually have to be risky at all, so TSM are going to try to hard engage.
TSM trying to find another Stixxay, but Stixxay is able to peel back. Call the Forge God goes up, but Stixxay doesn't care if he gets knocked up. There's no members of TSM around him. Licorice flashes over the wall, and it was everything but the kitchen sink thrown by TSM, and they're still empty-handed.
Yeah, and Gori's behind him. This is going to get difficult, but Maple's going to look to preempt the engage. Nice flash
from Gori says no to that. Chime follows through, and so does Bugi. No Cyclone available for Bugi. They're going to try and brute force Gori down. He will say, yes, I want this fight. Almost returns it on the Bugi in the meanwhile.
Yeah, almost knocking him down, but not quite. And that will buy them a little bit of time. But unfortunately, on the other side of the map, it means Soul will be uncontested for Golden Guardians.
Baby.
So going to be able to grab that for themselves. Ocean Soul, always really, really powerful. Not as scary because there's not any real true tanks on the Golden Guardians side. So you can always kind of have that hope that, hey, maybe we can burst someone down, maybe we can make something happen. But you definitely want to see some heal cut being picked up here, you know, on TSM side. They have the Bramble Vest, but that is about it. And there is a tremendous amount between the lifesteal and the Ocean Drake healing now. You look at Shield Bow Bloodthirster in the mid lane, plus a Wrath Elixir, so he's gonna have a tremendous amount there. It's also a Shield Bow down in bot lane. So there's gonna be a lot of healing that they actually have to deal with.
And Golden Guardians are looking for the end right now. We have 30 seconds before the Baron does spawn. Chime went out there to get some early vision to spot this out coming out from Golden Guardians. And that inhibitor should be up within the next minute. So some silver linings coming out from the Guardians on their next setup. For TSM coming on the next setup, excuse me.
Yep, and they do have their third Ornn item, so there are some little small things that are working for them, but it is one fight away from the game ending, you know, for TSM. That is really the difficulty here. And also, when you have Ocean Soul, you can just constantly bait Baron over and over and over and over. It never has to end, because you're never really going to be threatened by the damage of this neutral objective once you have that Ocean Soul. Maple going to be forced to TP up here early, so this may be where TSM elect to try to fight.
Your two frontliners, Solo and Bugi. waiting to engage for TSM for what could be the last chance to take a win right here. Here it comes, Call the Forge God. They find Licorice once again. Gori over on the sidelines, goes after Chime. The fight continuing. Solo getting oh so low, gets a double knockup to go through. Stixxay runs low as well, but no one to fall in this team fight just yet.
Yeah, but they did chunk out Stixxay quite a bit. And in goes Gori!
Gori onto Chime, gets taken down by Neo. TSM, they found something back off the over-aggression of Golden Guardians.
Yeah, that's the polymorph I was talking about in the draft. It's really, really punishing when you go in there for the Yone on these one-man mission-type plays. You get polyed up, you get burst down. Ocean Soul is not going to save you in those situations. And now the objective bounties are starting to come in here. What can TSM get with Gori dead for 30 seconds? They at least get the mid lane tier 1. Are they going to just try to start up this Baron? That would be way too much. Bugi is chunked to 0 from those saplings.
Yeah, those saplings do a bit when you have a Leandries under the demonic embrace. River does a lot of damage, being that jungler, and it makes the Baron area a very dangerous place for TSM to traverse. Golden Guardian's going to set up in that direction once again.
Yeah, they are going to. So they do lose that kill. They do lose the mid lane turret. It is more time going the way of TSM, which does start to make you a little bit nervous. Golden Guardians still in full control, though. They still have the GA on Stixxay. They have Flash on Stixxay. They have all the tools that they need for him to really have a successful team fight. But Maple, all of a sudden, death cap done for him. I.e., when that completes for Neo, or excuse me, he's probably going to be going Bloodthirster here. Of course, he already has the Quick Blades. But when that Bloodthirster, that 4th item comes through, he is going to be such a threat in these team fights as well. So despite the gold disadvantage, there will be opportunities for TSM if they can find that perfect engage. It's just going to be tough to do it because Golden Guardians have saplings everywhere. And even Solo is kind of taking some punishment from it.
Solo eating those right on the chin, getting burned away on that percentage health damage. Here comes Call the Forge God, lands onto no one.
on the side.
Secured for our Golden Guardians. Boogie looking to bail on out because there's too much damage that the Guardians have brought. Boogie with the Cyclone. Gori follows through. Stixxay with the chase on the Chime. Takes him down. He's not a frontliner, but damn, I'd be fooled. Stixxay with the triple kill.
What a flash forward from huhi, setting him up, flash forward, gets the triple stun with the W, and no hesitation from Stixxay there. He flashes right on in and mops him up. Golden Guardians march on the Nexus.
Golden Guardians, they fed Stixxay 10-0 and 2. They'll give them a big, big dub against TSM.
Nicely done. Golden Guardians, 3 straight wins now. Playoff dreams well and truly alive. The win streak dreams alive as well. And taking down TSM here, very, very well done by Golden Guardians. I loved that they were on the same page with these engages. I love that there wasn't that hesitation. That is always the concern when you have these types of really heavy engaged comps is everyone gonna be on the same page? Are you gonna be disjointed on those engages? Are people gonna be playing too far back? And it was never the case here for Golden Guardians. I think huhi had a great game, finding those angles, finding those engages was really effective on the Annie, especially in that last fight. The triple stun that he actually landed with that flash forward at the W set up Stixxay on the Zeri so well. And Gori as well was really stand out for me. I think Gori's team fighting was so impressive. When you think back to that earlier Dragon fight, there's just these opportunities where they're finding that window to go in to pressure that TSM backline, and then Stixxay isn't hesitating at all. He's instantly in there capitalizing, and that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see between these teams, because it feels like they're starting to kind of build that synergy. They're starting to have a better understanding of what their teammates are going for, and being able to really be on the same page.
It's that veteran instinct coming out from Stixxay, able to shine when it matters most. Golden Guardians, great win for them, and great way that they played it through, because it was a scaling win condition coming out for TSM, and there were worries there that TSM were going to be able to get to that win condition with how the early game was going. But man, as I said, it suddenly was butt kick o'clock, and Golden Guardians just went for fights.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they found those windows. They're able to find these multi-man engages, finding the stuns with the Annie, or finding the engages, whether it is a flank from the Renekton or an engage, an ulti coming through from this Yone. I think Golden Guardians did a really, really good job with it. And I've got to be so pleased about how their season is turning around, because it was a bit of a rough start for them. They didn't have their mid laner there, their intended starter. They were playing with Young in week 1. And then, Gori comes in week 2. They're still losing, but you can see, that kind of glimmer of hope. You can see that contribution that he's offering. And now he's had this time to actually, really get things going. And there's the Academy spot again here. supporting you, showing up for their friend. And you did a great job as well today.
I love you all, brothers. And I love this game even more. Golden Guardians.
They don't like that.
That's right. Nah.
Like, you want to hang out? You're like, nah, I'm going to go play some League. See you guys later.
All right. Well, I want to get some dinner, so I'm gonna wrap up my time here. And as we wrap up things here in the arena, Huhi and Licorice are joining the lounge to close out the day.
Peace.
Welcome back to the LCS Lounge. They are on the way. I actually see them right over there.
Yeah, you can't see them, but I see them.
Their microphones aren't ready yet, so we're going to quickly talk about this game. And I would say, specifically, the Yone. Yone?
Yone.
I feel like Azael just said Yone, so that threw me off.
Look, it is what it is. Flame them.
Yeah, but I believe we have some nice footage of the Yone coming up.
Ooh.
It's a sponsored segment.
Well, is it really?
The Grubhub dub, Jet!
Yeah, Grubhub delivering the win. Grubhub dub. Here we go.
Gori, man, that ulti that he was able to get, I think it was just a solid 3-man ulti, was sick.
He definitely popped off for a lot of these mid-game team fights. Had a little oopsie or two at the end, but this was the one that got them their first Baron and really helped solidify the win.
Absolutely. Keep yourself fed during this week's matches and use the code LCS 4 off 8 for $4 off for delivery orders of $8 or more through Tuesday, February 20th. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
How you guys doing? Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love how we were just waiting as you guys were getting mic'd up completely. And you guys just mosey on in between.
They're definitely like staring at each other in total silence.
Yeah.
It's a little strange, but you know, we made it through it. We're here.
Nice. Welcome.
Thank you.
We were commenting during the game that you had to face against like the TSM draft, just the like Ornn Azir scale and try and hold on.
Yeah.
How did that game feel to you guys?
I mean, for my part, I kind of messed up the Rift Herald fight, and like I picked Renekton for the Rift. Like you pick Renekton, you want to win that Rift Herald fight, and I messed it up. So then I was like, oh man. But my team played really well, so like to see that.
How did you guys feel just generally for the last couple weeks, finally getting Gori back? You had a really tough strength of schedule to start, and then since then have been rallying, and with Team Liquid's loss today, it feels like you guys might soon have sole possession of 5th place and breaking the top half of the league. Like, is this something you're keeping your eyes on, or is it like head down, focus one game at a time?
I mean, we definitely think we're not like where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're getting better and better, especially after Gori came. So I think we're pretty excited how to show what we can do. So I think we want to aim higher, definitely.
Yeah, we were kind of joking at the start of the day, and I want to get your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes starting 0-4. But
facts.
Gori had visa issues at the start of the year, and that's also when you played the best teams. But now that he's here and you've had more time together, is this actually do you feel like it's kind of a fortunate schedule that you're able to play the teams you're playing now that you have Gori?
No.
I said you would say that.
No, we would have beat them with Gori.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the confidence.
The confidence is actually one thing. I remember I was interviewing Stixxay after the win that you guys had last week, right? And for him, he was also been like, didn't want to even hear the excuse of the strength of schedule. Like a loss is a loss, and it feels like the mentality is something that I'm interested in with you guys, right? Because it feels like you guys you believe you can go farther and you can do more. Just generally speaking, after taking loss after loss those first 2 weeks, was there any shake in confidence? How was the conversations internally?
Were you regretting the FU piece that you put out at the beginning? Oh, no.
No, I mean, it was fine because the first week we had a sub and Young played well, but it's always difficult playing with the sub. And then the second week, Gori flew in 2 days before our matches or something.
Yeah.
So it's if we lose, we lose. It just happens. I think we're aiming to be a top team. So the whole strength of schedule thing too, it's
true.
I don't know. If you're the best team, then you are the strength of schedule. You know, here we come. So
that's fair.
That's where we're aiming.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's check out the standings where you guys actually end up at the moment. 3-4, 3-game winning streak. 2 more games this week. Raz did say at the start of the day he strongly disagrees with Golden Guardians' ability to win all 3 games. I was against it.
Look,
I think you're
wait a minute.
You can check.
I'm getting roasted.
That is just what he said. Anyway, FlyQuest 7-0, 5-0 in their last 5. You can see there you guys are tied for 5th. There's a clump of teams there: CLG, Golden Guardians, Team Liquid, and TSM. But congratulations once again on the win. We also do have the schedule moving into tomorrow. You guys again have Game 5, so you can go home, get a good review in, long sleep, show up again in the evening. But we start off that day, EG versus TL, IMT versus C9, 100 Thieves versus COD, TSM, FlyQuest, and then Golden Guardians against Dignitas. So thank you once again for joining us, guys. Congratulations on the win. That is going to do it from the LCS Lounge for today. Wednesday is over. We will be on another Wednesday in 4 weeks, in week 8, for those of you that want to know when it's happening.
Enough of a heads up, Jet.
Thank you.
Way in advance. So please tune in for that, but also tune in tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern time for another day of LCS matches and a special guest. See you then. Hit it. Oh, you're getting way better.
Yeah.
I wonder how many views the LCS will get today.
I mean, JoJo's mom is watching all of my games.
She's a big fan of yours. Yeah. Ironically, she is watching all your games. She's watching all my games,
Closer's ready, finds the Q over the wall. Another auto attack will do it. And Double F gets excited for first blood. 3,500 gold lead. Now they're going to take the blue buff too, and they're not done yet. Closer wants to get away as Busio flashes out. The lockdown comes in. He slams him into the dirt with his own ultimate. 6-2. The geniuses are looking good. Vika's thinking about it. Flash. Whoa! Follows him all the way back underneath the turret, and they're ready to follow up here with Azael Rakan. Tactical is first blooded. And they're going to teleport. Double teleport flank. Man, that blade caller just cut him off. Tactical goes over the wall, but he still drops. Now you got to Blaze Olive in the middle of everybody on FlyQuest. 1, 2, 3, line them up, knock them down, and move on over to Baron. It's way too easy for FlyQuest. Bottom lanes are coming. Oh, one more eyeball does actually open. Arrow from across the map finds Palafox. Flash from Core JJ to follow it up with the chain CC. The health bars are low, and Core JJ goes in to make it happen. Summit flies over the top, but Doke was ready to fight back. It's big Doke, baby. He picks up 2. He picks up 3. He absolutely smears Team Liquid all over the floor.
Yeah, not going to look for the redime. Oh, the hook!
Oh, coming in from Ignar, who will decimate Sven and get something back. Blabber looking for the flank. Retaliation from Cloud9, and here comes Fudge, taking right on in. Spawn low, Spawn goes down, and Sven flashes away. Armad on the retreat, and Cloud9 have something to say about this early lead. They will take it and smash it away from Dignitas.
It's going to cut off the rest of TSM and follow through on the charge. Stixxay runs in with the ultimate and pops Maple. A double kill for Stixxay. Golden Guardians going after the Drake, and they will secure it. Dragon Soul point. How's the team fight gonna go, though? Gori steps in, and Gori gets 3 and will decimate Team Solo mid. Guardians finding the win.